Well, hello everyone. My name is Tiana. Some people like to call me Princess Tiana, but I am so thankful and honored to have gotten an invitation from you. Thank you so much to the Warren Newport Public Library in Gurnee and all of the friends of the library for inviting me out. And I'm so excited because I get to read some books today. I love to read, and these are two of my very favorite stories. So let's jump right into it for one that I know really, really, really well. This one is called Princess and the Frog. It's my story, so I definitely love to share my story with you today. I hope that's okay. Alrighty, so that's me there. So let's see here. My gloves make it so hard to read. I like to read laying back by the swamp and in my regular clothes, but today I thought I'd put on my dress for you. All right, so this is me here. So it says, ever since she was a little girl, Tiana has dreamed of opening up a restaurant. She has worked hard to make her dream come true. Now that's my mom, and that's my dad, and that's me. And then that's me there working really hard. I love to cook. All right, so let's see what happens next in the story. All right. So Tiana's friend Charlotte, I call her Lottie, dreams of marrying a prince. And tonight, Prince Naveen will be attending her Mardi Gras ball. That's Lottie right there and her daddy. Isn't she pretty? All right. Naveen dreams of finding his fortune, but before he gets to the ball, evil Dr. Facilia tricks him with bad magic, transforming him into a frog. That's the bad man right there. And that was Prince Naveen before and after. Some crazy things. At the ball, Naveen sees Tiana wearing a beautiful dress and tiara. He thinks she's a princess whose kiss could change him back into a prince. That's me there. I love to gaze out at the stars. And there he is, the frog prince. Let's see what happens next. Naveen promises to buy a restaurant for Tiana in exchange for a kiss. But instead of Naveen turning back into a prince, Tiana turns into a frog too. So there I was giving him a kiss and then turned right into a frog. Oh my goodness. So let's see what happens now, since the story took such a turn. The frogs hop to the bayou and meet Lewis, a friendly alligator. He tells them Mama Odie can use magic to make them human again. There he is. That's Lewis. On the way to Mama Odie's, Tiana and Naveen begin falling in love. Now Naveen dreams of making Tiana happy. Tells us we were dancing. Oh my. For the next book, I think I'm going to have to take off these gloves so I can turn these pages. All right, now Mama Odie says, if Charlotte, the princess of Mardi Gras, kisses Naveen before midnight, the frogs will turn back into humans. Now there's Mama Odie. She's a fun one. And then she was telling us to have Lottie go ahead and kiss the prince frog right before midnight. All right. Tiana and Naveen race to the parade, but it's after midnight. Mardi Gras is over. Charlotte's kiss doesn't work, but they're still in love. The two frogs get married, and this makes Tiana a princess, so her kiss turns them back into humans. Tiana and Naveen open up a restaurant and fulfill their dreams together. And there we are, getting married in the swamp. And there we are at Tiana's place. That's my restaurant over in New Orleans. And they lived happily ever after. I really hope you enjoyed that one, because this story is near and dear to my heart because it's my story. But I know that there are lots and lots of beautiful magical stories just like mine, and I would absolutely love to share you one of my other favorite stories. It's of one of my really good friends. I think you might know her. So let me share this one with you. This one is called Cinderella, An Evening to Remember. Now, I'm going to slip off my gloves for this one because I want to make sure that I can turn the pages so you can hear the whole story. All right. Here we are, chapter 1. And then we know all princess stories start with once upon a time. So, once upon a time, chapter 1. Hello, I'm Princess Cinderella. I live in a palace with the prince, and my life has become a dream come true. When I was younger, I lived in the country with my father, a widower. I led a very happy life. Then one spring, father married Lady Tremaine. I welcomed her and my stepsisters, Drizella and Anastasia, into our family, but they didn't like me, no matter how nice I was to them. There she is. When father passed away, my stepmother forced me to become a servant in my own home. I grew up scrubbing the floors, cooking meals, and waiting on my family. The chores were very tiring, and I dreamed of a better life. The animals of the house became my only friends. 2 mice, Gus and Jacques, were my constant companions. Look at those little 2 mice. Oh, chapter 2. One day, there was a knock at the door. It was a messenger from the palace. He handed me a letter from the king. It was an invitation to a ball. The king wished to introduce his son, the prince, to the maidens in the kingdom. He had invited everyone to attend. I couldn't wait to meet the prince, and I had always dreamed about dressing up for a royal ball. Let's see what happens next in Cindy's story. I rushed to show my invitation to my stepmother, and after she had read it aloud, Anastasia and Drizella yelled, "You can't go!" It says every maiden. I reminded them, it says every maiden. They were always trying to leave me out, but I was determined to go to the ball. I see no reason why you can't go, my stepmother said. If you complete all your chores and find something suitable to wear. I couldn't believe she was going to let me attend the ball. Thank you so much, I cried. That's my stepmother, or Cindy's stepmother. I was so excited that I practically skipped to my room. I unpacked my only fancy dress, an old one that belonged to my mother. It was pink and white and had a big bow at the back. Gus and Jacques thought it looked old-fashioned, but I knew all it needed was just a little work. I couldn't wait to go to the palace. Maybe I would meet someone at the ball and fall in love. Suddenly, my stepsisters interrupted my thoughts. Cinderella! Cinderella! They shrieked. The dress in my dreams would have to wait until later. Look at Cindy's dress. She said she had a little bit of work to do on it. I love the colors. Chapter 3. I spent the entire day tending to my stepsisters. By the time I had finished, there was no time to work on my dress. I was very disappointed. But to my surprise, Jacques, Gus, and the other mice had used my stepsisters' unwanted sashes and jewelry to transform my dress into a lovely gown. I even had a necklace of beads. I thanked my friends and got ready just in time to catch up to my family. Look how beautiful they made that dress. When I showed them my dress, Drizella pointed to my neck and demanded, "Are those my beads?" "And those are my sashes," Anastasia cried, just as angrily. All at once, my stepsisters began tearing at the dress until it was completely in rags. My stepmother smiled and led my stepsisters out the door. I was all alone. My dreams were lost. Look at that. How beautiful that dress was, and look how they made her dress. Now let's see what happens next. Chapter 4. I ran into the garden, buried my face in my hands, and began to cry. "There's nothing left to believe in," I said. When I looked up, I saw a woman with a very kind face. She said she was my fairy godmother. "Come now," she said softly. "You can't go to the ball looking like that." With a wave of her wand, she transformed a pumpkin into a coach, and she changed the animals into attendants and magnificent horses. Then she looked at my dress. Magic sparkled from her wand, turning my rags into a beautiful gown and my shoes into glass slippers. I felt like a princess. She warned me that the magic would only last until the stroke of midnight. Then everything would return to normal. I got into the coach and the horses galloped quickly to the palace. Look, this is the fairy godmother. And look how beautiful that dress is. Let's see what happens next. Once inside the ballroom, I saw a handsome stranger. He was bowing to Anastasia when our eyes met. I was so nervous. I didn't know what to say. Then she asked me to dance. As we waltzed, my family watched us with jealousy in their eyes. It didn't matter though. They didn't recognize me. Afterward, we took a romantic walk in the garden. We were starting to fall hopelessly in love. I was having such a wonderful time. It was almost midnight. There were only a few moments left before the magic would wear off. I raced inside without saying goodbye. In my haste, I left one of my glass slippers on the staircase. At the final stroke of midnight, everything returned to normal. All I had left was one glass slipper and the memory of a truly enchanting evening. Look at Cindy and the prince dancing, looking just absolutely gorgeous. And then that's when she left her glass slipper. All right. Chapter 5. The next morning, as I combed my hair in my room, I hummed the song that had played the night before. I was so happy. The king had ordered the Grand Duke and the royal footmen to visit every house in the kingdom to search for the mysterious woman whose foot fit the glass slipper. Suddenly, I jumped. My stepmother was watching me from the doorway. My heart sank as I realized she knew I was the maiden who had danced with the prince at the ball. Downstairs, our footman announced the Grand Duke's arrival. My stepmother left my room and locked the door behind her. Oh, just look how mean she looks. I could hear Anastasia downstairs losing her temper while trying to stuff her enormous foot into my glass shoe. The Grand Duke was starting to get impatient. I was afraid he would leave, and I just had to tell him who I was somehow. Chapter 6. I had almost given up hope when I heard a sound at the door. Gus and Jacques had found the key. I ran downstairs to catch the Grand Duke. Now look at her stepsister just trying to stuff her feet. Look how tiny that glass slipper is to her big old feet. And then there are her helpful little mice pals with the key. As the footman approached me, my stepmother tripped him, causing the slipper to shatter on the floor. It was then that I revealed that I had the other slipper in my pocket. The Grand Duke slid it on my foot. It was a perfect fit. Soon afterward, the prince and I were married. The king welcomed me into the royal family as Princess Cinderella. What had begun as an enchanted evening had become a dream come true. There we go. That slipper was a perfect fit on Cindy's foot. I just love that story, and you just know that her and the prince lived happily ever after.